Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you about what you actually need, what equipment you need for food photography, because we all know what it's like, the people with all the gear and no idea. But there are a lot of things out there that you can waste your money on. And I want to help you today, talk you through the things to get you started. If you're here thinking, but I don't have anything to get started, well, my job today is to get you started with minimal equipment so that we can move you through and into absolute greatness. So the first thing that we are going to look at is what it is that you actually shoot on. That's kind of quite important. And if you are here at the moment and you're going, I've only got a phone, that's all I've got, then please don't worry about just having a phone. A phone is a great place to start. It teaches you about composition. It teaches you about styling, and you can still see what's happening with the lighting if you look close enough. When you're ready, and if you're ready, you can move on to a camera. A camera gives you a lot more control than you can get with a phone. You get a lot more depth of field, and you get a lot more that you can do with the lighting. But again, if you want to stick on a phone forever, that is absolutely fine. The smartphones at the moment are absolutely amazing, and you will get some great images for you to use. So let me just talk camera-wise. Camera, if you are on a camera, it doesn't matter if it's not the latest camera. You can have a camera of any age as long as it does the job and takes a picture and it's not grainy and everything looks great. In fact, last year, I ran a food photography retreat and I was the one with the oldest camera in the room and a tripod. So it doesn't matter. It's what you've got. And it's how you use it, not what you've got. So bear that in mind with your camera. I shoot off Nikon. I have upgraded in the last year to a mirrorless. This is a Nikon Z8. I'm sure it will be old before its time and there'll be more things out there. But like my last camera that I had, I won't upgrade it until it stopped doing what it needs to do for me. So don't worry about how old it is or what it's doing, or if you can borrow one off a friend to try, that is absolutely great. Secondly, with your camera, you need a lens. So if you've got a lens that comes with your camera, absolutely no problem to use that to start with. It is a great place to get started for you to learn the camera, get used to it, and see what it offers you. Once you are up and running, you can look at different lenses, which I'm going to come to for a minute. For me, with food photography, I was a portrait photographer for 15 years. I use zoom lenses. When I changed to food photography, I swapped to prime lenses for sharpness, for control of depth of field, and just what I wanted to get out of food photography. I started with a 50mm prime lens, and I shot off that for a very long time until clients started paying me. And each time a client paid me, I put a percentage of that money aside and started building my lens collection. I have 4 in total, and I'm going to tell you about that at the moment, because to start with, you need one, just one. One on a camera is all you need, and I don't want to overcomplicate it from there. From there, with your camera, you need to put it on a tripod. Food photography, drink photography, product photography needs to be sharp. And if you haven't got a tripod, even if you're using a phone, find a tripod that you can use that's going to work. There's a couple of different ways you need to look at a tripod. You need to think about a tripod. Let me see if I can show you this one on the floor. This one here is a standard normal tripod. It's very old, it's very heavy. I absolutely love it. However, this one here, so many legs everywhere. This one here is upside down. I've got it stuck on the other lights, but we'll go with it. And what I've done with this one is I've inverted the legs. I've turned it upside down. So the camera sits here and it points to the floor. So all my flat lays on the floor are taken with this tripod, because this tripod is angled down to the floor. This tripod is there for my 45-degree and my eye level photography. So I have 2 tripods, but start with one. If you haven't got one, start with one. It's a great place to be. And think about if you do more flat lays where you're needing to be over the top of it, or if you're doing more shots that are 45 degrees and at eye level. So that is our camera and what we sit our camera onto, our tripod. The next thing we need to talk about is the light. The light. If you are starting in food photography, you need one light that is not very expensive. We can all get it at different times of the year. It might be bright some days and not the others. It's a big window. We just need a window that is going to bring that beautiful light over our set and be able to light the food and drink that we've got on our set. That is it. You do not need any more than beautiful sunlight. It's a beautiful, soft light that comes through, unless we're in a heat wave, of course. So use the light. Don't get hung up where people say, artificial light is better than natural light. There is no better way. Artificial light can be more consistent, and natural light can give you some beautiful shapes and shadows. The key with which you're using is the direction of the light, not the type of light you are using. If you understand how to direct the light onto your food and drink, that is the biggest key thing that you can do. And you can do that with natural light, and it costs you absolutely nothing, zero. So let's talk about that harsh light coming through. We're in a heat wave, potentially now for the rest of the summer, who knows? And we're going to be dealing with very harsh light coming through the window. And we need to think about how we're going to diffuse that light. The bigger the diffusion material, the softer the light is going to be. You can put tracing paper on your windows. You can buy a Lee roll, which is pretty much in effect a tracing paper, but it's a fancier, posher one. Sorry, I don't want to diminish the Lee roll. Or there's a couple of extra things that you can do. You can buy a scrim. A scrim is a translucent material that you can hold up and put between the sunshine and your food or drink to diffuse that light. They come in different sizes. You can decide what works for you. Or something a little bit cheaper, you can go and buy yourself a meter or two of voile. Sorry, it's lost me there. Sorry, camera. You can buy yourself some voile. You can see how translucent this is. You can put this between the sun on your window and your food and drink, and it will diffuse that harsh sunlight beautifully. And you can probably do that for about $5 off Amazon or from a local fabric store that you've got. I've had this for years, and sometimes it's so much easier to put into place and hang off things when I'm with a client than it is to actually use the scrim. So please do bear that in mind. So that's how we can diffuse the light. If we want to bounce some light back in, very simply, I'm looking at everything I've got ready for you. It's like Blue Peter here. You can bounce it back in with white card, white foam board. It is reflective. White reflects back in. So all we need to do with this is pop it at the side of our set, and it bounces that light back in and fills in some of the shadows that has been given. Now, we can use white card. We can buy a reflector card that we pop up there to bounce it. We can do this in all different sizes, depending on how much light you want to bounce back. Or, I've lost my other reflector. Or we can reflect it back in. Just hold on, I've lost my reflector. If you're a photographer already, you might have a reflector. From portrait days, I have still got these reflectors. There's a silver side, there's a gold side. I would say 99.9% of the time I use the silver side because I'm trying to cool food down, not warm it up. Would I buy that now? Not necessarily. There's different ways that we could do it. And if you want something that is a little bit stronger to bounce back, when you buy these cards, this card came off Amazon, 15, 20 pounds. It's got that on one side. It's got a black card, which I'll come to in a minute, on that side. And then it has got this bounced silver light here. However, there is still an even cheaper way to do it. Foil. Put that on a piece of something, and that will reflect the light beautifully back in to what you're using there. I'm not sure if you can see it there, how it's changing. That can just go over anything. I actually forgot my reflector with a client. Sorry, that's a bit noisy. And I ran to the supermarket, bought some foil and covered a couple of their menus in it and bounced the light back in. So foil does work. One more thing with the opposite of reflecting is stopping the light. When we get harsh lights on glass and things like that, we need to stop the light. White and shiny reflects, black removes it. Black stops it. You can see these are well loved, aren't you? I don't need to buy any more because I've got all the equipment I need. It might sound odd, but it stops the light. It takes the light back out of it. Black card just goes there and fills in the side of the glass where we start to lose it. So black card is very important. So what you need to start food photography to start with is a camera or phone, your lenses, your tripod, your voil or scrim to diffuse the light, the white card and black card to stop the light, bounce the light, and a beautiful window. And that is pretty much it to get you started. Don't let anyone tell you anything else to get you spending lots of money. You can start there. What I am just going to finish with, though, is other things that you can buy if you want to start making more money. So I started by saying to you, I bought a lens every time a client paid me. And this is exactly how I bought my lenses. So I now have 4 lenses. I've got the 50mm that you saw on the camera. I've got a macro lens, a 105mm. I'm talking Nikon here, so the numbers might be slightly different for you. I've got an 85mm prime lens here as well. And I've got a 35mm lens here. That is my 4 lenses. And the reason that I've got 4 is for very different jobs. The 50mm will have all the table in focus and be able to get away with that. The macro is to get really close up on those hairs on the raspberries and the dots on the strawberries. The 85mm lens is somewhere between, and it was actually the last one that I bought when the clients paid me, and it's the one that is on my camera the most now. So it's strange, it's somewhere between the 50mm and the 105. I can get that absolute sharpness with my lens, but I can blur out the whole background. And the 35mm lens is a little bit of an odd extra. I would have always said all I need is 3 lenses and that's it. The 35mm lens was bought for the tripod that inverts. And the reason I've bought it for that is when I invert the legs on this tripod, I'm closer to the floor. And I was finding with my 50mm lens, I couldn't get everything in a backdrop on the floor. So this is why I bought the 35mm lens to help me get things into the background. So you don't need these. This must stress, this bit here is to have afterwards. This is the nice bit to have afterwards. If you've got so good with your artificial light and you are ready to go on to, with your natural light and you're ready to go on to your artificial light, you could buy yourself some lights. This one here is a strobe light. That means the light is taken from the flash, like a flash on your camera, the same as a flash gun. Or you can buy a continuous light, which just has a lamp in it, like you've got a lamp at home, and that stays on all of the time. I much prefer the strobe light, one, because I was a studio portrait photographer for 15 years, and this is just what I work with. And secondly, it's stronger. It gives me harsher things. I can play around with it a bit more. It's absolutely lovely. As with the Voil and the Scrim, you will also need a softbox on the front of your artificial light to diffuse that light. Please don't use umbrellas with food for 2 reasons. One, the spill out the side of the umbrella makes it very difficult to control the light. And 2, the spokes can reflect into the food and you end up with more harsh shadows in there as well. So if you're ready, artificial lighting and softboxes are beautiful. The next thing I would always recommend is, these are the nice to have peeps, not everything, a snoot. A snoot is a modifier that you put on the front of the light instead of the softbox. It directs a very little bit of light. Perfect for labels, perfect for when you've cut a cake and you need a little bit of light in there, perfect for when you have taken a quarter out of some fruit and you need to light inside. The snoot does a really good job for you there. And snoots are probably about 50 quid, but if you don't want to buy one, wrap up some black card, put your sticky back plastic, so I'm going back to Blue Peter now, pop that over the lamp and you have got yourself a snoot for about £3, and you can try it to see if you like it before actually buying another one. What else have we got left? One more thing. These are the nice to have. These are not the things to start with. Okay. Lastly, a tether cable. A tether cable is great. This will be where you can tether into your camera and pop it into the side of your laptop or a TV. You can do this kind of thing. It just goes into the side of your camera here. Pop it onto the tripod. It's ready to go. And then with the other side, I can't show you it because I'm on the laptop at the moment. That pops into the port and we are tethered camera to laptop. The reason a tether is so good is because you see what you're doing on a big screen. And if you've ever done a shoot and you're really excited about it and you think it's gone great and you've looked at it at the back of the camera and you've gone, oh, I love this shoot. Oh, they're going to be so happy. It's brilliant. Or just something for yourself. And then you go and transfer it to your laptop and you look at it and you go, it's out of focus. I didn't get the depth of field right. I just don't like it. Everything isn't in the right place. That's because you're looking on this little tiny screen on the back of your camera, and to be able to transfer that and look at it in real time while you're taking it, it really helps. Also, you can take the picture on your laptop and not on the phone. Anything we can do to not touch the camera or phone when we're taking the photo is the best thing for your food and drink, because we want it as sharp as possible. If you're not tethering, you've got a simple workaround for not touching the camera. You can put it on automatic timer and step away and let it take the picture with you not touching the the camera. So the tether cable is great because you can just come over and you can press it on the laptop when you're ready, and then be able to see it on the big screen. So this is all the extra nice to have. We've talked about the natural light, the camera, the lenses, the tripod, the scrims, the foils, the card. All of that you can do very cheaply, other than the camera and the lenses are more expensive. But I truly recommend that you go to places, secondhand photographers look after their equipment. And if you go to somewhere like MPB or Wex, you can get discounted, not half price, but very, because they're secondhand. I don't know what I was actually saying there. Because they're secondhand, they're a lot cheaper. So you go in and you can have a look, especially on MPB. That's where I shop. And you look at what you want, and they show you varying degrees of that equipment, of something that's in really good nick to something that's a little bit worn. And that will help you decide how much money you've got as to what you buy. But don't go crazy, especially on the second list, on the lenses, on the artificial lighting, on the soft boxes, on the snoots. Don't go crazy on the extra stuff. Wait until you have, wait until you need it. When I swapped from portraits to food, I was still a very poor photographer, and I didn't want to waste all my family's money on getting all the gear and having no idea. And this is why I promised myself that when a client paid me, a percentage of it went back into me getting and growing my kit. You can start food photography with such a small amount of kit, with a beautiful natural light, a camera or a phone, and a tripod. It's just such a great way. Even if you're holding your roll of foil and a piece of card, that is exactly what you need. So please, please, please don't spend lots on your equipment to start with. See how you get on, then move on to the extra nice list, or just ask me, hey, this is what I need. This is what I'm trying to do. How do I do it? And I'd be more than happy to talk kit with you. So that is today's session. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something from it. And I will see you next week on the Food Photography Show. All right. Take care. Thank you. Bye.